Oh, I have to turn them up also.
I can hear now.
Not only do I have to unmute them, I have to turn them up. Hi, guys. This is Eric Anderson. I am in the booth with Gator. I'm going to start out in here just to test it because we've been having some problems with the new skins. So as you can see, there was no countdown clock. I started streaming a half hour prior to us actually starting because if there's any problems, I wanted to be able to see it right away. It looks good. Fingers crossed, everything's going to be great.
Absolutely.
We're on like hand 5 out there. I was running Action Tracker. Now Eddie's going to go out there and check it out. You can see 15 minutes ago, Eddie going out there and getting all the chip counts, the players drawing for their seats, stuff like that. This is all the behind-the-scenes action that you normally don't see, but just because we were running into problems the last couple of times with the new skin, I just started earlier because it always happens that we have a problem, we restart, and then everything works great. So I'm like, well, let's just restart right away.
Right.
And so that's what we did. Now, fingers crossed, everything's going to work. We got Corey Bennett in the chat, Lego, Cisco, Poker Monkey. Poker Monkey says, who saw the stream Monday? Poker Monkey crushed the stream on Monday. I think he cashed out for like $2,200 or something like that.
How much was he in for?
$500 buy-in.
Wow.
It's a 1-2 Monday. And people have tried to talk me out of this. They're like, nobody cares about 1-2. Let's stream the 25-50. That's what people want to see. But most casinos in the country are 1-2, 1-3.
Yes.
90% of the tables you go to are going to be 1-2. And most of our players are 1-2 players.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to not do that. I want to give them the opportunity. Benny Binion said, treat the little shots like big shots. And, that's what I do. Everybody, recreational players, full-time jobs, retired people who want to come in and play on the stream and enjoy it just as much as these guys do without the bankroll.
Right.
But I love to let them do that, and I'm not going to stop doing that.
That's what I love about this place is that this place is very for the players.
Yeah,
for all the players.
For sure. Poker Monkey said he cashed out for $2,500.
He won $2,000.
So boom, that's a good day in a 1-2.
I tell you
in
what,
4 hours in 1-2.
That's quite the 1-2 game to win that kind of money.
That is. He ran pretty pure. He says he bought him for $500 and topped off for an extra $80. So that's a good accomplishment.
Absolutely.
I do know that he hit quads once and got paid, so that helps. That's it. So I'm just fingers crossed that everything's going to pop up in just a few minutes, and then I'll trade places with Eddie. Let him come in here and commentate. You did a fabulous job yesterday, by the way.
Thank you so much.
It was so good.
Thank you so much.
And then you ditched us to go hang out with your wife when we all went out to eat at midnight. But that's okay. You coming out with us tonight?
Yeah. If you guys are going out to eat or something, I'd love to join. Last night I was getting on the way home, and I said, man.
You can see us all collecting all the cell phones, keep the game integrity secure. This is kind of neat. So people don't realize we're very strict.
And we can't even see the cards back here
we can't see anything until the 15th. That's why that's why I'm so anxious right now, waiting for that 15-minute delay to see the cards.
Right.
But yeah, it's we take it very seriously. We take away their cell phones. We put them off to the side so you can go check your phones. I'm not going to lock up your phones for 4 hours.
Right.
You can go check your text messages, something like that, but not at the table.
Yeah.
Not in a hand. You can get up, physically leave, check it, and come back. That's fine.
And I prefer poker that way anyways. Even off the stream, I'd rather just people don't have their phones up.
It's, before I was streaming, when I was just recording 10 years ago when I was doing this, it didn't matter. And then I saw, I went back and watched it, and it's 9 guys going like this.
Yeah, and
it's not entertaining.
No, it's not. It's not fun. Nobody's talking. Poker's a game where you should socialize. You should talk. You should have fun.
So I like it. Jim Boyd says, I'm here, ready for a great show.
What's up, Jim?
As always.
Thanks for being here.
All right. We've been streaming for about 14 minutes. We're on a 15-minute delay. So this is going to be they're going to start with a $250 flip, Omaha flip. Poker Monkey says this is a great lineup of player. We're also adding Chris Cashman to the lineup here. He's going to be in table 7. He is bagging right now. He's over at TCH playing that big bounty tournament.
Oh, really?
As soon as he bags, he's going to rush over here and play. We are live now. We can turn on that table mic. I didn't want to broadcast that without, you know, before the stream.
Right.
People saying stuff they might not want everybody to hear. You know. Poker Monkey says Carlos. Yeah, Carlos is in the 5 seat.
Yeah, Carlos is here again. He's going to be here tomorrow as well, right?
He's a crusher. He just loves the game.
He loves the game.
25, 50, 50 Annie. Who was the Annie, the big blind Annie?
Yep, 25. This is the first time we've done a big blind Annie cash game.
Mm-hmm. So this is the biggest game.
This is the biggest game
that you guys had,
yep.
right?
I had to go to the vault and pull out another 200K in yellow chips just in case. I didn't want to like distract me in the middle of the game. This is gonna tilt me. Somebody sat down and moved the table.
Oh.
So I'm gonna have to go fix that when I get out there. And here's the moment of truth right now.
See if we can.
You can see how anxious I am.
Right.
I mean, I work so hard to make this perfect, and then when there's a software glitch, oh, it just kills me.
The moment of truth is coming.
I'm waiting, pins and needles. $250 Omaha flip to start the tournament. We got Terrell in the box. Gator and Eddie will be in the booth. I'm going to be running the action tracker. While they're doing this, I'm going to pull up the commentary booth. So far, so they're going to start right now. We'll see. Eddie just peeked in to see how we were doing. Yep, Cashman's coming. It's like Christmas morning. Who is to the right of Carlos? Hold on just a second. Just a quick pause while I turned on the commentary booth. I should have done that prior to. All right. As soon as this flip is done, I will pull up the stack size for everybody.
Oh, no, that's bad. Make sure you buy that.
Hey, look, he's got trip jacks.
Yeah, he does.
All right, what's that? In your card. Oh, okay. And now that's really nice.
There it is. I see it. I see the graphics are working.
Stack two. We'll do 100 each. 100 under each flip. All right, here we go. I need a 3-6 flop. 3-6-2.
Oh, I was so
That
scared.
looks great.
I was so nervous that wasn't working. So Moneymaker has quad kings.
He made quads yesterday on
He
the
made
stream
quad
as well.
kings yesterday. He made quads yesterday.
Moneymaker doing what he does best, making money.
All right, I'm gonna pop that up to full screen. You guys are good to go.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I am Gator, and joining me today, I will be joining Eddie, the Asian sensation, here in a couple seconds. He'll be right in here in the room, and we're going to get the show on the road. Looks like we're starting off with 100,000 on the table to begin with. It's a big game. There he is.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, back here tonight. Biggest game here in Poker House, live Poker House Dallas history, 25-50 with 50 big blind Annie. Eddie, the Asian sensation, in the booth, along with Paul Gator Tassone, picking up action this hand.
Like Mr. White opened with ace queen there under the gun +1, 150, and I say his name is Paolo.
Paolo, correct.
Paolo, 2 7s.
Mr. White's gonna c-bet his entire range here. Well, probably
It's a good board for him to see bet king 4 deuce. He's
about a fourth
can
pot
represent
here.
the king.
Yeah, 25% pot.
and Paolo's not a believer.
Paolo with the best hand has a lion's share of the equity here unless an ace or a queen hits. 9 of clubs on the turn. Neither player. Oh, only Paolo with a club. 7
Brings
of
him a
clubs.
7 high flush draw. But I don't think he can think that that flush draw is good.
Yeah.
So, Mr. White checks. Looks like he's waving the white flag.
Check back. Paolo with enough showdown value and draw into a flush as well. 2 of hearts doesn't change too much, but it does pair the board.
I could see this going check, check here. Unless Mr. White wants to try to take it away, but I think Paolo might end up calling if he bets the river.
Yeah, I think that if he was going to try to take a stab, he probably needed a double, at least double barrel.
Yeah.
I was getting the windows replaced. I had like workers in the house 2 days ago. I couldn't like leave. And it had to be up to like 7.
He is going to try to take it away. I think Paolo's going to want to call here.
Yeah, that deuce of hearts doesn't change anything on this board. Now, he could be repping a hand like 10s or jacks.
Yeah. He could be checking back, checking the flush on the turn, and then trying to get a little bit of value here. But I think Paolo's going to get a little curious here with this bet sizing.
You had a good session Tuesday, I think.
No good sessions this year.
Oh, wow.
Gonna make the
Gave it
fold.
up.
And it's early on. A lot of these players have played with each other in other streams now. Again, JWin here making the trip up from Austin. Going to be playing tonight's stream, tomorrow's stream. Zane in the 8th seat, making his Poker House live stream debut. Paolo in the 9th seat as well, making his live stream debut here. Zefish in the 4th seat, also making his live stream debut. So a lot of players making their live stream debut tonight. So again, a lot of these players have played with each other at some point in the past, whether it's here at our stream, down the road at TCH, so, and private games as well, probably. So, again, minimum buy-in for this live stream, 5K. Minimum buy-in that's actually on the current table, 10K. So, as stacks get bigger, look for
Ace King.
Yeah, look for players to at least add on.
Raising 150 on the hijack.
Oh, Carlos here with 10s.
With a big hand already.
See if he's going to come back here for the 3-bet. JWin with 5s, though, behind. He is going to come back with a 3-bet.
I see JWin probably maybe making a call here, but 3-bet to 350.
Small 3-bet.
Yeah, not a gigantic.
Yeah.
Bet. Yeah. You think JD might put in the 4-bet here?
No, just going to make the call.
Gonna flat.
He's in position. Can evaluate a flop.
Oh, Carlos with a big flop.
Nice flop in middle set, but it's a wet board. He does have the 10 of spades.
It is.
See what sizing he's going to continue with here. Oh, it's going to check back and be sneaky?
Did Carlos check? Oh, he was just pointing at the board.
Yeah, so Carlos always has to sit in the 5 seat because of, you know, the ability to see.
Right.
So big sizing here. He's going to go 750, nearly pot. Definitely going to do this to deny some equity on a wet board. Lots of draws there, potentially. Straight draws. Flush draws. That's a very big sizing.
JD into tanking, want to make the call.
Gonna see at least one street.
He might have a little bit of devious plans here for the turn.
Let's see what JD's gonna do on this turn. Board pairing. Carlos has nothing to worry about anymore unless, you know, he's worried about an overpair. Probably can size down a bit to try to eke out some potential value. Maybe targeting a hand like Ace-Jack suited. Not too many combos of Ace-Jack suited. I think if JD had like Queens plus outside of Ace-King, probably would have 4-bet.
Yeah, absolutely.
1,200 to a pot of about 2,100. Yeah, so a 60% pot. Carlos here taking it down, having a nice little start to his session.
You want to keep it? Thank you. The change? No, wait. Thank you.
Paolo folds check 7. JD Moneymaker. King deuce of hearts. Zefish. King 4. Carlos. 7-5 of clubs. He's going to make the call for 50. JWin completing a small blind. 9-7 offsuit. Mr. White in the big blind. 9-3 offsuit.
Just going to check his option here. Let's see what's going to happen on this flop. 200 the pot.
8-9 deuce rainbow. Everybody got a piece of that board. Carlos has a gut shot. Backdoor flush draw.
And JWin flopping top pair. Both Mr. White and JWin flopping top pair. Yeah, but JWin here having them out
Best
pip.
of it.
Oh, look at this. 2 pair here.
2 pair for JWin.
Again, now brings in backdoor diamonds. Brings in some potential straight draws.
That's 150. Carlos also picks up a pair of 7s. And Mr. White's not going anywhere.
I don't have too much info on Mr. White Poker Monkey. He was a late minute addition last night to this lineup. So in from Oklahoma. All I know that he's Cashman's friend, and that's it. So, seen him play some streams before in the past, but outside of that, not too much that I know about. Queen of Spades on the river doesn't change anything on this run out. A hand like Jack 10 does get there.
Yep.
See what sizing JWin's going to go here to try to target.
I'd say maybe around half pot. Bet 200.
40% pot, very value heavy. See if Mr. White's going to make the call. Can't be in love with this kicker.
No, I would not like the river here with the 3. I don't love it on the turn. I really don't love it on the river.
Pokerman, 4-fish, Z-fish. He is a businessman. Was given his number by another player, and he likes to play high stakes. I asked him what he likes to play. He said 25, 50 and above. So
wow,
this is normal for him. This is normal for him. Again, Eddie the Asian sensation in the booth. Mr. Paul Gator Tassone. Tomorrow, you're going to be playing tomorrow. Are you excited about that?
I'm always excited to play on the stream.
It's going to be a fun stream tomorrow.
It's going to be a juicy one.
It's going to be a super juicy lineup. Got JWin's gonna be coming. He's going to be staying in town. Came up here to play tonight stream and tomorrow stream.
Right.
You yourself, Habib, Carlos, OFC.
OFC's in the mix.
OFC is playing tomorrow.
Man, and Habib.
Yeah, but German Moneymaker is also playing. Got a friend coming up from Houston. Aaron's going to be playing.
Nice.
Queen of Felt as well going to be playing again, so going to be.
I have a great lineup tomorrow.
Ending her stream, ending her trip here at Poker House Dallas before she goes back to Florida. 7 King Deuce board.
JD Ace Queen of Hearts. Raise at 150 pre-flop.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to raise a hand like Ace King, King Queen suited. He is blocking King Queen, so.
Yeah, and
can
backdoor
easily
hearts here too. Of course, he can rep the king.
Yep. Carlos here with second pair, not going anywhere, just one overcard on the flop.
Oh my gosh,
Good
what a card.
Turner for Carlos here.
Carlos might be the best at making sets today.
Yeah.
That's the second one.
Well, talking in the past, he's been playing very well, just been getting some tough runouts.
It's been a little rough for him, so maybe
So hopefully
today's
the night
change.
is tonight for him to get back. And this is the stream to do it, 25-50 with a
This
50
is
big
it.
blind ante.
And I think we start out about 100,000 on the table to start out.
Yep, because we are starting off 8-handed, have a supposed to be 9-handed, but end up being 8-handed.
Oh,
Everybody was
supposed to be
okay.
9.
Yeah, so had someone cancel this morning at 8:30 in the morning.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's so hard to fill these seats, especially at these stakes. Like 5, 5, 10, 5, 10, 25, snap.
Pretty
Like,
easy.
Oh, easy. I have like a bucket of like 5 to 6 guys on those stakes. And those guys usually kind of like rotate every week kind of thing.
Right.
And if I say, hey, I got a last minute cancellation, they're in. So it's
Right.
not that big of a deal. But at these stakes, it's a little more difficult. So
Yeah, I mean, the higher you get, the
pool.
more the pool shrinks.
yeah. So you yourself, you like to play like the 2 5s, the 5 10s, the 5 10 25.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to play above my bankroll.
That's smart.
So, you know,
Bankroll management is key.
when I was in my 20s, I went broke a lot.
No, and that that's a hard lesson for some players. And you know, you're 34, married with a kid, so you got to be a little. When you're young, you can take the shots.
Yeah, and it didn't matter if I had one buy-in, I was in there. But now I practice having a fair amount of buy-ins. Everybody practices different, but
Right.
I have a belief of where you should be.
Right.
And the more the better. But you don't want to play too big for yourself because you get out of the game, well, you can't play anything.
Right.
So
JWin here in the hijack, King Queen off, going to make it 150. No straddle's been put on yet so far through the stream. Mr. White with 8s in the cutoff. Just going to make the call in position.
Paolo, Queen 6 offsuit folding. Moneymaker with King Queen as well, going to call the 100. 3 ways to the flop. 5 1/4 and a skillet.
What a nice little flop there for Mr. White.
White with 3 snowmen.
Yeah, both of these players pretty much drawing dead, have each other's outs.
Probably not going to get a call here.
Bet snap fold here. Lots of sets so far early on in the stream. Again, we're about 30 minutes, well, actually about 30 minutes into the stream, give or take. So thank you very much for tuning in. Again, backed by popular demand. So I've said this, I was texting Gator last night after the stream, and I was texting other people. So like, it was really funny. When I was married, I hated group texts. I just hated them because it's bing, 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 bing,
Right.
bing, bing, bing. But now I'm probably in 20.
Right, I'm in a few of them.
And so I had independent texting me, Gator's great, Gator's great.
Man, I really appreciate
And then
that.
I'm texting people, like, what y'all think about Gator? He was good, right? They're like, yeah, like, you got to get him back. So I was like, for
Thank
sure,
you so
100%.
All you people out there that said that, thank you so much. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I just enjoy being here in the booth.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Little 3-bet there with 7-8 suited by Paolo, going to take this pot down. We've talked about this yesterday, using suited low connectors at times as like a 3-bet bluff, again, to try and hit some board coverage.
It makes more sense in the deeper games.
Yeah.
You know, when you're playing some games where you can't buy into the stack, or you can't buy in for 200, 300, 400 blinds.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to do that stuff because
Yeah.
you don't have maneuverability.
Yeah, I definitely don't do that at 1-2.
It usually doesn't work in that game. I've learned that lesson a few times.
Yeah, those types of hands at 1-2. I'm not a big fan of a limping strategy, but sometimes, especially in Texas, I have a limping strategy
Right.
at 1-2, and as I play a little above that, that's when I start opening 3-betting type stuff.
Right.
But I mean, even when you 3-bet at 1-2 to like standard open 15 here at 1-2, and then 3 calls, you try to squeeze, make it 100. You're still gonna go 3 ways.
Still
to the
get
flop.
3 ways. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah, and when your SP, like if you buy for the 500, you have your SPR is like just over 1 on the flop.
Right.
So you're just like, you have 400 in your stack, now there's 300 in the pot, and like you're pretty much like trying to bet small than a rip.
You're just all in a lot of times. And Moneymaker going to call the 3-bet from Zefish.
On,
5 1/4 from the button.
Seen some sets with pocket 8 to see if it can happen again.
Okay.
Ace 5, 6, yeah. Good board for Zefish to represent the ace here.
I think he's going to barrel since he did 3-bet it pre-flop against Cashman.
Small?
Cashman, that's another player, man. He's young and he's playing high stakes. That's a guy that's going to have a big career if he continues.
So he's like, I don't even know if he's old enough to drink legally. This kid started out at 1-2, and within less than a year, I don't know if you've seen the past streams that you played, and he moved up to 25, 50
Yeah, I
less than a
saw
year.
that. I tell you what, that's incredible.
Super incredible. And from what I've been told, I've been getting to know Cashman and a lot of these players more on a as I communicate with them, try to put these lineups together. And I've been told he was like a grand chess master.
I heard he was. I heard he was an excellent chess player.
And so I'm like, holy smokes, like that makes sense. So
Yeah, a lot of good chess players are great poker players.
yeah, Alexander Botez is kind of make a couple.
She's been getting on a couple streams.
Yeah, Magnus.
Yes, Carlos Magnus. Right?
Seen him play some of these higher, at least content creator type streams. Paolo here 3-betting, raising
Pocket
with
fives.
5s.
No action.
So outside of just like when do you think you would be comfortable playing like the 5-10-25 or the 25-50? Obviously, it's a bankroll issue, which is totally
Like
respectable.
bankroll-wise or like experience-wise?
Experience-wise, I guess.
I think like what makes sense for me, I started out playing 1-2 when I started playing poker, and I really wanted to get to 2-5. And, I think if you put a couple thousand, and this is how I feel about it, and some people play online, but I played live most of my life.
Okay.
If you're beating 1-2 for 2,000 hours or more, you should be bumping to 2-5. And you're beating 2-5 for a good 2,000 hours at a good rate. You should be bumping to 5-10, and
taking your shots from time to time.
Taking your shots at time to time. And, if you think that the 5-10 game is easier, because sometimes it is. Sometimes the biggest game in the room can be the better game in the room.
Right.
I've played in some 5-10 games that are hard.
Right.
And then the 10-quarter games going, and you got 9 millionaires that are just shipping it around,
Right.
But the guys that can't afford to play it, so the really tough pulls in 5-10 no limit a lot of times, especially on the East Coast. Some of the 5-10 games there are tough. And I think comfortably, if you're beating a 2-5 game, for 10 blinds or something an hour, you should be playing 5-10.
Okay.
But, sometimes when you move up in stakes, you're not going to beat 10 1/4 for 10 blinds. You might beat it for 5 or 4.
Right.
But as you move up in stakes, the game usually gets harder.
Yep.
So sometimes you might be playing, maybe you got the roll to play 5-10 or 10 1/4.
Yep.
But maybe that game's not the greatest game for you to play.
Yep, I would agree with as well.
So for me, it's, can I beat a certain stake? And I hear some people say, oh, I'd rather play 5-10 than I would 1-2. Well, if you can't beat 1-2, then I suggest you don't play 5-10.
Right.
That's my opinion.
And so that's a really good point that you make, because there's some times where I feel like I make more at 1-2 than I do at 2-5.
Well, you will. And there was times when, I was moving up in the stakes, and I had a pretty big roll to play 2-5, and I was moving into 5-10 and couldn't really find a 5-10 game.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd play 2-5, and I say, man, this game's really not that good. You can go play 1-2 instead, and sometimes you win a lot more money playing the lower stake than you do your regular stake.
Yeah. There was an open by Carlos in the cutoff with 4s.
Mr. White with ace-3 off.
Defended his big blind. Much better board for Mr. White than this for Carlos. Make the fold here.
It's a pretty decent board for Carlos.
Yeah.
Misses all the overcards.
Daniel Marks in the chat. What's going on? He's supposed to be my 9th today. He's my alternate. He's down the street firing the mystery bounty. Doing a pretty good job over there. So
nice.
Hopefully you can stay over there. As much as I would love you to have as much as I would love you to be here and play in the live stream, bag the night.
Is he playing tomorrow?
If he backs the night, then he doesn't have to play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
Well, good luck, Danny.
Oh, God.
Well, I play pretty bad, so hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
You might make some Gator boots tomorrow.
Touche. I like that. Now, Danny, you've heard me talk about it. Danny won WSOP Circuit Choctaw main event last summer.
I saw that. That's awesome.
What's funny was I think there was 13 players going into day 3. And if you're listening, Danny, correct me if I'm wrong. There were 13 players going into day 3, and I believe you were like 11th chips. So he was short stack. I don't remember how many big blinds he had, but as I'm watching, I'm keeping up with like poker news and seeing like the ICM ladder jumps and like his name. See him do that. He said he'll buy you more boots.
Danny, I need a couple pairs.
You have boots here in Texas, right? You can't not have. You can't.
I do.
Okay.
I don't have any Texas boots, but I have boots.
Okay, we got to get you some. We'll take you somewhere.
Yeah, just make sure Danny buys them for me.
Okay.
Because he said he would.
Look at here, 2 pair for Paolo here.
Not much going on for JWin, just a gut shot and an ace high. Oh, it's an ace.
A bad river for JWin's probably gonna. Yeah.
You think JWin's gonna check back, and he does.
10s and 6s for Paolo here. Maybe was hoping that ace was good for JWin, that he would try to bet the river there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tried to be a little deceptive with his turn 2 pair there. JWin dodging a bit of a bullet.
Got off cheap there. If he bet small in the river.
Okay, so yeah, he started at 11th out of 13. He had 11 or 13 big blinds and spun it up. That's impressive. How many big blinds do you have right now after dinner break? So you said 70, right, Danny? That's heaps. In tournament, that's like super tons of heaps.
That's huge. Danny's used to playing 400 or 500 big blinds.
Yeah. Moneymaker here under the gun. No one against straddling yet. Suited Broadway card's gonna make it $150.
I'm kind of surprised the straddle's not on.
I think it will eventually. I think once some of these players get a feel.
Right. And I tell you, if OFC was here, the straddle would be on by now.
Yeah. This would be, it'd be 25, 50, 100 auto.
Auto.
Little less now, but maybe 50. It's because the blinds went up. Well, keep me posted.
Well, Danny, good luck, man.
As of right now, I still have one seat open. I do have an interested player, though, that's in the room that's potentially Sam Clark that played yesterday.
Yeah.
He's thinking about taking a shot.
Okay.
JD here going to make, oh, he's going to call on the button. Oh, so in the small blind, excuse me. Going to complete. We're going to go heads up. No 7 deuce came on. Not a very good board for either one of these because if somebody had one of these cards, they probably would have tried to bet in the blind versus blind scenario.
Absolutely.
JD here just going to barrel the flop, going to take down that hand. Again, we're playing 25-50 with a 50 big blind ante. Biggest game here at Poker House Dallas, Poker House Live. Got a nice, fun, very, very established experience lineup for tonight. We got JD in the 1 seat, German Moneymaker in the 2 seat, Zefish also making his Poker House Livestream debut, Carlos taking a shot up about 1,300 right now. Danny, Carlos the biggest winner so far. JWin coming up from Austin, going to be playing this 25-50 and also tomorrow's 5-5-10. Chris Cashman in the 7th seat, Zane, Mr. White in the 8th seat, and Paolo in the 9th seat. Get minimum buy-in 5K max. Actually, it's uncapped, so.
No cap. Check on his spades. Zefish calls it 100.
Definitely defendable hand.
Yep. Mr. White flopping top pair.
See what sizing is going to go with here.
Yeah, I'm thinking around 200. 2.25. Yeah, an easy fold.
So, question for you. You moved up in stakes. You're consistently playing 5-5-10.
Yeah.
You'd play a little bigger contingent upon the straddle in the lineup. Fair
Right.
enough. Do you use sizings? I try to keep my sizing consistent across all.
That's an interesting question.
All stake. Well, and again, it's table dependent, table configuration.
Well, let's just say give you a broad answer, like just a regular broad answer.
Okay.
I think if I'm playing 1-2, for example, I always use the same sizing. And what I usually do is I multiply the blind by 3 and add the trail in and then bet that. But if I'm in a game that's super crazy, if I think you're going to call $100, I will bet $100.
Yeah, exactly.
But as a whole, I like to keep my sizing the same whether I'm bluffing or if I have it.
Yep.
I don't like to change that. That was something I always did, even in the lower stakes.
Yep.
And I think it matters a lot more when you're playing with players that really know more about the game versus players that are kind of having fun for a few hundred.
Agreed, 100%. Carlos here flopping the open ender. He's a 5 or 10. Paolo with a little gutter himself. Zefish with ace high currently. Backdoor clubs, overcard to the board.
Calls at 300 as well.
Looks like we're going to have a big pot potentially.
I see Carlos folding the open ender here.
One of those was a heart. That'd be nice. Some turn cards. 3 of spades. Doesn't change much. Brings in some backdoor spade draw.
Zefish a pair.
Yeah.
Which I assume he's probably looking for something like a club.
Yep.
Maybe an ace, but probably the club more likely. Paolo's going to stab at it. 1,500.
Gonna bet pot here.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna take down this pot.
Strong bet.
Yeah. And that's a sizing that probably wouldn't work at 1-2. Not, or a bet or sizing that wouldn't work at the 1-2.
Like a pot size bet.
Now, I talked about this yesterday. At 1-2, you know, I've helped some people on with their game. The lady I'm seeing, my girlfriend, you know, I'm kind of helping her out in some of her game a little bit.
Yeah.
And you know, she's kind of been playing the 1-2 streets like before she works, after she works, days off. And I tell her, like, look, if X and X is super like sticky, size up.
Yeah, if you think they're going to call that, then you should bet that, in my opinion.
Right. Like, I have this thing. The good thing is I can think relatively quickly. Like, what's their max threshold pain?
Yes.
Right. And you know, with tighter players, you know, I may bet smaller just to kind of eke out some value.
You want them to call,
30%, 40% pot, even quarter pot. So I tell her sometimes she doesn't pay attention to, you know, playing. Now she's paying attention, you know, to like table dynamics.
Yeah.
And you know, some players when they sit down, especially at the one, they're there for more for recreational, more for fun, just to gamble.
Yeah, they are.
But I think if you're like trying to work on your game, trying to make it better, you know, you really need to be like paying attention to the dynamics of the table. JWin here, turning now a gutter to the wheel. Carlos
with an 8,
currently with the best hand.
Betting 100 and a quarter. He's going to get raised to 300, almost a min click.
I don't see Carlos folding. There's a snap call here, pretty much. Just goes back and double checks.
River being ace would be an interesting card.
Yeah. 3 of diamonds. That doesn't change much.
I think Carlos would like this card better because getting raised on the turn, it could feel like a flush draw he's getting raised by, maybe a 5-6. I don't think that Carlos is going to think he's going to get raised by 3 on the turn.
So maybe some turn combo. He does have the ace of clubs blocking some.
Yeah, he does block some of those flush draws that could raise on the turn.
Big bet here by JWin. Pot. It looks like 750, 750 into 750 approximately.
Yeah, I think so. He bet 750 right on the money.
And I believe he's targeting a hand exactly like this.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get called by 2 9s or a weak king, and it looks like Carlos is putting it in there. Yeah. Good call by Carlos.
Good Carlos. Like I said, Carlos's game, you know, between he's been playing for about a year now.
Right.
And so just to see the progression in his game over the past, I know he's going to go back and listen to that. He's had some rough streams here down the road at TCH. And one night after a stream where he got like, he just ran into it. It was one of those nights. I texted him. I said, just FYI, you know, all our streams, like when I'm commentating, I go back to listen to see how I do as a commentator, kind of help me improve.
Right.
I was like, dude, you've just been running into it. You've been playing great. Just keep, like, don't, like, get frustrated because you're not playing bad, you know?
And to be playing these stakes here and hasn't been playing very long, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're really stepping into the realm of the game, playing 5-10, 10 and a quarter, 25-50. This is big stuff.
Yeah. And I know some players, you know, sometimes in certain lineups they don't want to play based off the lineup, and I get that, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, when I play here 1-2, if I'm playing like 3 hours before a stream, I'll like walk to the table like I want that table.
Of course.
Like, I want that table. And you know, at certain tables, if I'm sitting at a table that's a tough table, and it's not that I'm like quote unquote scared of them. It's just like it's tougher to beat those players.
It is, and
right?
you know, I have a that's a good topic you brought up. Capaway said, Gator, that's my brother. What's up, Capaway?
Yeah,
I got 2 brothers. One's in the chat currently.
Who's the other one I've seen?
Levi's his name.
Okay, yeah. What's his YouTube name?
I don't know.
Okay.
I told him to tune in, and I don't know what it is.
All right, Mr. White.
There are 2 kings.
So somebody told me these are called the Kennedys because a bullet, an ace hits the flop and always kills a kid.
Oh, my gosh. I haven't heard that one.
I heard that today. So, Lego, if you're in the chat, so if an ace comes up on the, I guess, okay, you're going to get a call. So if an ace comes out, we're gonna call it the Kennedy, okay? The Kennedys. There he goes, but he flopped
3 kegs.
So, 3. That may be wrong, but it's kind of funny at the same
This is
time.
a pretty good flop for Carlos. He has a gut shot and a flush draw
And he's
here.
never going
He's
anywhere.
not going anywhere. And this Mr. White's got 3 kings.
Yeah.
Yikes. This might be a big pot.
That's going to be a very, very big pot.
Let's see if Carlos is going to put a raise or call in, but he put the call in.
Just gonna, he's in position.
I like
so
that. You know,
Jack of
bad
diamonds
turn card.
Definitely a very good board for Mr. White's under the gun opening range. Has a lot of the ace kings, the overpairs. Even if he had a hand like jacks or queens, like he can definitely rep the ace or king.
Yes, absolutely. And Mr. White's just
Yeah.
praying that Carlos has a hand like ace queen or ace jack maybe.
So Lego was the guy that it was in like we have a Facebook thread. He posted something on a subject about like the names of cards, or combos of pocket pairs or whatnot. I was like, I'm 100% gonna mention it on the stream.
That's awesome. Carlos got to call 650, almost getting 3 to 1.
Yeah.
It's pretty close. Quick maths, it's definitely less than 3 to 1.
So I think Mr. White here is putting him on ace after calling.
What a card for Carlos, but this is kind of bad for Mr. White. Now there's a 4-liner to the straight.
Yeah.
So
But he would have to continue with a hand like
Jack have a 10 in his hand.
Jack 10 of clubs.
Jack 10 of clubs, ace 10 of clubs is
Yeah.
possible out there, but I feel like that hand might have got a little bit of a raise on the
Yeah,
flop.
see? Lego worked out. Pocket kings. Because there's always a bullet.
And he does bet 600 here. I think Carlos might put in a raise here, but at minimum, he's going to put in the call. But if Carlos was chasing his flush draw, I can't see him not wanting to raise, but I think he's just going to play conservative and put the 600 in.
Carlos here, currently the big winner. Up about 3,800. We're about one. Okay, we're going to go into the stack sizes, the VPIP, and the cumulative winnings here after the next hand. But right now, Carlos, the big winner on the stream so far, up about 4K. Good for Carlos. Like I said, this is a good stream for him to get his run good back.
He needs to get it back for sure.
And in fact, he can get a lot of it back just by virtue of the stakes.
One pot, he could be, win 10,000, 20,000 one pot here.
And one thing I like about Carlos, so like, there was one stream a few weeks ago where like, I just had to replace a bunch of people, and it was a very pro-heavy lineup.
Yeah.
And I call one of the players and say, hey, look, this is this lineup. I can get a replacement. He's like, I don't care. Let's go. I was like, all right, let's go.
Carlos is a player, man. He's a player. JD with ace queen under gun +1, raising it to 150. 3x the big blind. It's pretty standard open this game.
And again, at these stakes, yeah, I think you're going to see more standard raise sizes, standard, line. I say standard, right? Like,
right.
You're not going to see 5 ways to the flop, 6 ways to the flop.
And you're not going to see like a 5x raise like you do maybe in a 2-5 game. Sometimes you see $25, $30.
Yeah.
5-6x raises in the lower stakes. People tend to raise, 3x a lot of times. I remember you talked about sitting in tough lineups. The only way to get better is play players better than you.
I agree.
And sometimes you got to sit in those lineups, and you might get beat, but you do learn.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to learn. It's not the only way to get better, but it's definitely a great tool.
And I know Carlos goes back and watches these streams, and that's one thing, that this is why it's so it's valuable if you can play a stream. And that's why I love about our live streams. We'll do a 1-2 or 1-3 live stream up all the way up to 2550.
And I really like that.
Yeah.
I love that there's the fun 1-2, 1-3 live streams, and it's not always, hey, the 5-10 plus players are getting all the spotlight. If you look at every casino and every place in the country, the main game there is 1-2 no limit, 1-3 no limit. A little 2-5, but
Zefish here flopping flush draw, but Paolo with top pair. Paolo's not going anywhere. I wonder if he's going to come in for a check raise here, because this is a better board for him.
it looks like it's coming. It is. 350.
Now, with that being said, as a tournament, like a lot of my studying is in the turn. I've only really been playing cash probably for about 4 or 5 months now. This is a board either I would lead from the big blind if I was defending the big blind, especially with the big blind ante, lead or check raise.
With Zefish's hand or
Paolo's
or
hand.
Paolo's hand. Paolo's hand.
10 of clubs. Zefish getting there on the turn.
Picking up the straight flush draw as well. Not that it matters. Paolo is drawing dead.
I wonder if Zefish is going to try to check back for deception or try to eke out some value. He has all the clubs, so
He does.
you know.
And he's going to bet.
Sounds like 2/3. Okay, 450.
450. Yeah.
Just under half pot. Paolo here maybe thinking he's like on some sort of overpair.
And he's not a
Ace
believer.
King.
Yeah.
RV Phil in the chat. Up in Tulsa, he was supposed to play this game. Just kidding, RV Phil. River card coming up. 6 of diamonds. Brings in hand like 4 or 5, but it doesn't matter because Zefish here turned the straight, has the best hand. You're going to see a bet here and a fold.
I think Zefish is going to bet maybe around 1,000.
Half pot for some value.
Yeah, a little value here. Maybe around 1,000, 900, 1,000, maybe a little over.
Yeah, and when I play, I'm not going to give too much of my strategy away. When I get in a spot like this where I'm like trying to eke out some value, and I'm like, what sizing do I use? Like I kind of use like the 40 to 60% range,
Right.
kind of like just so kind of like my default bet size when I don't know. Again, if I don't have any information on the player, if I know this player's thicker, I may go like 3/4 bet, right?
Right.
If it's like somebody that I know only plays X, like plays a limited number of hands, I may go like 1/3, right? But without any information, if I know I feel like I have the best hand based off how the line was played, from a value perspective, maybe like 40, 60%. And Paolo here's thinking,
He's thinking about calling. Zefish bet around what I was thinking, 1,000, 1,200. I was thinking anywhere from 8 to 12, and he gives it up.
good fold there by Paolo after getting check called on the flop. He check raised and getting called with his check raise, so. And Zefish, you know, obviously turning the flush, probably representing some overpairs to that board. Jacks plus. So here's my, I want your opinion, especially at 1-2. I think, you know, outside of like learning the game and studying and whatnot, I think table selection is the number one important thing.
That was very key for me when I started playing poker. You know, I played the 1-2 streets for a very long time because I had to build everything organically.
Right.
I didn't get lucky and get Bitcoin or hit a tournament and hit a couple 100,000. I didn't get any of that. I literally was at the bottom, and it's just so hard to move up into like a bigger stake a lot of times when that's all you're doing.
Yeah, Mr. White here flopping the flush. JD here with the bottom pair. Check bet, maybe fold. I've seen JD take, you know, some aggressive lines and try to get tricky and try to get devious with his hand.
Yeah, I've definitely. He likes to. Seems like he likes to make a lot of peels and see if the truth comes out on the turn.
Right. Jack of spades.
I had someone once say that everyone lies on the flop, but the truth comes out on the turn.
I like that.
Because, you know, most people just see bet.
Right.
So you get called a lot.
Big bet here.
And big bet
pot, yeah.
And a fold. But, yes, table selection is so important when you're playing 2-5 and 1-2, 1-3. You have a lot more tables. But when you start going up into the 5-10 and higher, table selection is not really there anymore.
Agreed. So.
And the other thing is, if you're the guy that's showing up to the private game or whatever, the 10-quarter game, you don't want to be the guy that goes, well, who's on the list?
Right.
You never want to be that guy because then you're just going to be, they're going to be, well, you know, he only wants to play when this person's here.
Right.
Just show up and play the game. And, you know, you'll find out if you like the game that day or not.
100%. It's funny you talk about like c-bet. When I was first starting out, I would just c-bet 100%
100% of the time.
And now, like, even with big hands, not big hands,
Right.
if it's, boards that are better for me, like, we talk about ranges and blah, 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 flops, turn cards that are better for your calling range, raising range, I take that stuff into consideration now, whereas before I didn't.
Right.
Right. Literally, my C-bet frequency was like 100%.
Right. And I've noticed some people will C-bet 100% of the time, and that's something that Barry Greenstein used to do back in the old days of when he was on poker streams.
Yep.
He C-bet 100% of the time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was the way he used to play. Now I think that situation has changed drastically since then. Poker's an evolving game. And Mr. White with top pair with Jack Kicker and JWin 2 6s.
350 here, small bet. See if JWin's gonna peel one. Unless he's putting Mr. White specifically on a hand like Ace King, Ace Queen. I like that comment, Danny. I'll read in just a second after. Oh, look at this.
Wow.
JWin here gonna check raise here.
Mr. White, he's got a backdoor diamond draw, top pair, pretty good kicker. I mean, he's got to think the only thing he should be getting check raised by might be sets, occasional bluff here, right?
Gonna make the call. JWin probably gonna have to slow down on the turn unless it's 6 hits. Oh, ace here.
Wow.
That could actually be a really bad card for JWin. It reduces some combos of ace X holdings that Mr. White has.
He's going to check here and slow down. Mr. White probably thinks he has the best hand at this point.
Yeah, I wonder what he's gonna do here. Interesting turn card.
I've never seen him play, so I don't, I couldn't predict what he's going to do. He does check. JWin. You think JWin's going to wave the white flag here, or is he just going to try to go?
Yeah, he has some relatively decent showdown value.
Yeah, and he's checking. Mr. White, I think, should put in a bet.
I think if that's not a queen or a king, he may try fire, because he could be 3-betting a hand. King, queen suited, queen, jack suited type hand.
He's looking at his chips. That's 1,000.
Super value heavy bet right here. Yeah, snap fold.
fold.
So I like Danny's comment. He says, when he first started playing, people's biggest leads were not C-betting enough. Now the opposite's true. Beginners C-bet way too much. I like that.
Yeah, some people do tend to just C-bet way too often, and they lose a ton of money by doing it.
Yep.
Especially on boards they probably shouldn't C-bet in.
So question, when you were at the 1-2 shoot, so I got Hayden 14 in the chat. What's going on, bud?
What's up, Hayden?
Paul, Gator, Tassone, and I back in the booth again for this Friday Night Lights 25-50-50 Big Blind Ante. Men buying 5K uncapped. All players buying in for 10K. So, what do you think your 3 biggest leaks were at the 1-2 lower stakes?
Playing blackjack.
That's a really good leak. that's a relatively fair enough.
JWin with 2 9s.
Making $150.
Raising 150 Cashman.
Just gonna fold 4. Just gonna fold there.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to set mine here versus JWin. Maybe for a couple reasons. Maybe he thinks if he hits the 4, he won't get paid off, and maybe he's worried that he might get a 3-bet behind him with some of these more aggressive players behind him, and he don't want to end up calling a 3 or 4-bet.
Zefish out of the big blind here, gonna make it 650. Ace Queen offsuit.
And exactly where he would hate to have 2 4s, and now he's got to put an extra 500 in the middle.
JWin here gonna make the call with 9s. See Mr. White folding here, yeah. I don't know Lego, I'm not gonna lie. King high board. Again, Zefish has a lot of the ace kings, a lot of the king queens.
Yeah, and I like the C-bet since he did happen to 3-bet and he's king high board. Does have the queen of hearts. Would be better if he had ace queen of hearts.
Let's see if JWin's gonna peel one with just one overcard on this flop. Gonna make the call. Definitely representing a hand like he has, like 9s through jacks. 7 of spades. Doesn't change too much on this board. See if Zefish is gonna double barrel here, if he's gonna check.
Right.
2,500 in the pot.
Looks like he's
JWin
gonna
with about
bet.
2x the pot.
And he says he's betting 1350.
Yeah, it looks like about 1350.
A little bit over half pot.
55% pot.
JWin's can't be liking this.
Yeah.
He knows if he calls here, he might have to call big barrel on the river.
Yeah.
So, you know, if he calls here and he doesn't make a 9, which the 9 of spades brings in the back door, but the 9 of clubs doesn't get a good card like maybe a deuce, but yeah, it's just a tough call there, especially if you think
super
he's got a
tough
on
call.
the river as well. So the other 2 leaks when I was playing that, probably bankroll management was one of them.
That's important.
And also, I would make the mistake of playing higher stakes, even though I didn't have much of a roll. And
Just to take a shot?
yeah, and then I'd go broke.
Right.
I'd be playing 1-2, and I'll just go play 5-10 with my whatever roll.
Yeah.
And I went broke a lot.
Fair
So
enough.
that was a big leak too, and probably the other one, besides playing blackjack and stuff like that, don't do it. Take it from me.
It's a trap. Don't do it.
It's a trap. Sometimes I think like maybe you think you're better than what you are.
Right.
And you get a little big-headed playing certain stakes because you're winning at it. And then poker gives you a humble pie every once in a while.
That's for sure.
So it's a very humbling game. So it's not something you want to have an ego in because you're going to eat a humble pie sooner or later.
Right. So I'll go over my 3 biggest leaks I'm working out. 2 of them I'm getting better at. One I've kind of feel like I've kind of, I won't say mastered that, but as soon as this hand's over here.
Moneymaker with the ace-king and Mr. White with ace-3 of spades.
Gonna barrel here.
Moneymaker's got the ace of clubs in his hand, so I think that makes it easier for him to bet. He knows that Mr. White can't have the ace of clubs, so he can't have the nut flush draw.
When we talk about range advantage, nut advantage, you know, Mr. White's not going to be hitting this board a ton. Moneymaker has definitely got like a lot of the overpairs. Mr. White, a non-believer here. Going to come in for the check raise.
Check raise with the gut shot.
Yeah. Not believing Moneymaker here.
Not at all, and Moneymaker's in a tough spot at this point. Yep.
Nice little check raise there by Mr. White. On a board that he knows is probably not really good for Moneymaker unless he specifically has an overpair. Probably check raising that specific hand like ace, king, king, queen suited. So nice little move there, Mr. White. Going to take down that pot against Moneymaker. Okay, so here are my 3 biggest leaks. 1, not value betting enough at the 1-2.
Yeah, that's definitely.
So I was costing myself a lot of money by not value betting.
Right.
2, one of the issues I had was like monsters in the dark or under the bed.
Under the bed syndrome?
Yeah, under the bed syndrome where I'm like, okay, I have top set and like
this guy can have this.
He could have like some weird combo flush draw and like I have to play my hand. If like he gets there, he gets there kind of thing.
If he does, he does.
And like I just rip it like 2x pot because I just want to take down the pot right there.
Right, because you're betting too big for your hand, so you're not actually value betting.
Yeah, like thinking I'm quote unquote protecting my hand.
Right, I understand that.
So kind of monsters under the bed syndrome. And 3 was like, in terms of like tilt, I wouldn't. As I started learning how to play poker, quote unquote, correctly.
Yeah.
I used to get upset, like players, like, why would you be calling my, I haven't been playing any hands. Why would you call my 3-bet out of the small blind?
Right, I did this, and this. Why did you do that?
Yeah. And the reality is, like, you want those calls 100% of the time.
You do. And you know what's interesting is to this day, I still see people act like that in 1-2. But you never see that kind of stuff when you get in the higher stakes.
Yeah.
And there is guys that might have did something absolutely crazy in a high stakes game.
Yep.
Nobody really says anything. So that's a good point. You do want those players to do that. I mean, My opinion is, it's their money. They can gamble it their way.
You're right.
You know, I was like you when I first started playing poker. I said, man, why'd this guy do this and do that
I'm
to
like,
me? Like, oh, my gosh.
I would never berate players because in my head I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
Right, yeah.
Like I haven't played a hand for 3 hours and I 3-bet you. Like
Right, and that just doesn't matter.
I'm like super nutted, right?
I was playing a game once, and I was playing. Guy says, "You haven't played many hands, so I'm going to give you action."
Yeah. Well, you hear that a lot in Texas. It's funny. They're like, "You want action?" And they're like, "I'm like, I never talk when I'm in the hand. Like,
Right.
I'll talk in between hands or if I'm not in the hand. But like if I'm in the hand, I'm like, I pick a spot at the table and I just look at it. It doesn't matter, you know, if I'm bluffing or if I'm nutted, right? I try to keep the same presence at the table, irrespective of that. And so, you know, that's kind of funny. So another one now, again, as I'm learning the game, getting back on the felt, I don't get mad anymore. Like if it's like a bad beat or a bad run, now I just get really upset at myself when I play a hand poorly, and I'm like,
Do you feel upset at the table, or you feel upset later?
Both. Yeah. And so I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, I played a hand on the stream one time, and I like tried to bluff the river, and like theoretically, like mathematically, it was a good bluff.
Right.
But in my head, I'm like, I'm trying to bluff the stickiest player at the table.
Which is silly.
And it's so funny. I talk about, I don't bluff at 1-2, and I literally bluffed it, and I was like, this is so stupid. Like, what are you doing? Like,
back when I first started playing 1-2 back then, I had this rule: don't bluff in 1-2, and not even in the 2-5 games at the time.
Yeah.
And it was like, for some reason, I still couldn't help myself.
Right.
I still wanted to put that barrel out there
Yeah.
when I thought they'd fold, and I learned every time that they didn't
yeah.
fold.
It's like, I already have X amount in there. Like,
Right.
I have to get it back.
Just gonna put it in
I was
there.
gonna put it in. It's just like, and then after the hand, you're like, bro, you're an idiot.
I
What do you do?
think that was a big leak of mine back then. Was I couldn't help myself but want to bluff when I felt like this guy had bottom pair. It was coming. Here's 400. Looks like they're doing a flip.
Yeah, and one of the things I've been better at is not overcalling on the river, because like a lot of people at 1-2 don't bluff that much.
No, they don't.
Right. So like,
No,
I was
they
overcalling
don't.
on the river. And I'm like, this sucks. Like, dude, like, what are you doing? Let's run out. Like I did that the other day. It's been like almost 3 weeks since I played. That night I was, I bought it for 600. I was up like 450 in like 3 hours.
Right.
Pretty good hourly. Like, but the one hand I played jacks terribly. Like, I had overpair to the board, and like the board runs out with a flush, and this guy can have these weird 2-pair combos or whatever. And I was like, well, if he has a set, he'd be raising me on the turn. He's like, it'd be really weird for him to have this 2-pair combo, or really weird for him to have like. And I'm like, what combos of blah 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 blah
Does he have?
Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna call, and like he had one of those like combos that he definitely has at 1-2, like call flop, turn, and river. And I was just like, you're an idiot, dude. Like, I was so mad at myself for the hand. I mean, the hand cost me probably cost me like $100, which is, the money wasn't that big of a deal. But in my head, I'm like, what are you doing, you ding dong? Like, this guy's just like not bluffing here at 1-2.
Right. Jim Boyd, you're not wrong. Don't rattle the aquarium. Some people I've seen take a hammer to it. Paolo.
Never. And that. Oh, JWin here with 10s on the button. I could probably come in for a 3-bet here.
And Cashman, small blind,
just
king,
call on the button in position. It is under the gun open, so.
Yes. And Paolo with king jack offsuit.
I originally didn't see where that open came from. It feels like later position, like middle position, low jack.
Right.
Probably coming in for a 3-bet.
Cashman folded king queen here, right?
Yeah. Did he? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so. King queen out of the blind.
Now, 10s is a really important hand here because he's double blocking straights. Now, I don't see him folding this turn.
No, I think he's going to make a call here, and at 10 on the river would be an interesting card.
Yeah.
Make a straight for
And he would
Paolo.
have to. It would have to specifically put him on king jack.
Yeah, absolutely. I think JWin's making a good call here, and river's a benign.
Yeah. It's a brick. If JWin thinks he's good here on the turn, he's good here on the river.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bet, snap call. They show 10s.
Checking your hotel, then like, I'm gonna pick you up.
JWin here picking up a nice little pot. Let's take a look at these cumulative winnings so far.
They were nice. I mean, the quality's not quite.
Got Zefish up about 4K. Carlos up about 3,600. Mr. White about 1,200. Biggest loser so far, Paolo, JD, and JWin. Again, lots of poker left. Only been in the booth and on the felt for about an hour, maybe just a little over an hour. So plenty of poker left for these numbers to change. Let's take a look at these VPIP percentages. No one with a terribly high VPIP except for Mr. White, about 41%. Now, these guys in the 20s, pretty standard, right?
Yeah.
It's a good VPIP. We've seen on some streams that you've played on, you know, guys 60 plus, 50,
60 plus,
50% plus.
Absolutely.
Doing a lot of limp calling type stuff.
Moneymaker, ace jack of spades, under gun +1, going to make it 150. A lot of aces out on this one. Zefish with ace 10, Carlos ace 9.
Are they playing the Jack 4 game? Okay, I didn't know if he was or not because
He was in the tank with it, right?
He was in the tank, so that's why I wasn't sure. Because Jack 4, if you're not playing it, this is like a snap fold, generally speaking, but
Cashman, a couple of walking sticks.
gonna make the call on the button. Currently with the best hand here. Oh, Paolo here. We've talked about hands like this. I like it.
Yeah, and this is a nice squeeze.
I don't see Moneymaker folding. Suited Broadway cards.
I think Moneymaker against Paolo wants to call.
Right.
If it was somebody that was playing like maybe it was Cashman here, I could see Moneymaker folding.
I agree. I would agree with that. And Paolo's is a very experienced player where he knows that was a good spot, even though there was an under the gun open from Moneymaker with 2 calls from behind.
Right. 9 deuce tray.
Actually, not a terrible, terrible board.
Now Paolo doing that, I think he's waving the white flag.
Yeah.
Unless he's, Moneymaker bets here for some reason. I don't think he will. And then Paolo just check raises for something crazy.
Yeah.
But
2 of clubs doesn't do anything.
no. Paolo's going to take a shot now. I think he thinks that Moneymaker might have an ace-king hand and
Yeah.
ace queen, ace jack.
Trying to get him off it. I
Yeah.
don't think Moneymaker, he may fold it. Yeah, he's going to fold here. If he thinks that he's going up against like ace-king, ace-queen, like he's behind.
Yeah.
Or even like some just like, like 10s, 9s. You could think that he's squeezing with that hand. So,
50 viewers in the chat.
yeah. Pretty decent turnout so far. Again, early in the stream, very competitive live stream on Fridays. So, with 3 other streams, the Lodge, Hustler Casino live at the bike. So, again, I've told you about this. We're going to be probably moving some streams around and some dates. So
Yeah.
I'm going to keep those streams, just trying to figure out what works best for us after I look at the analytics this week.
Absolutely. So what are the streams every day? So you got Saturday 5:10
Here or just in
Friday,
general?
Just here.
Okay, because I know all the streams weekly because I have a spreadsheet on all the streams. I have a spreadsheet on all the streams and I have the analytics on our stream specifically. So, so I guess we'll start with Sunday. So from 6 to 10, that's the next gen.
Sunday, yep. Savage Sunday.
Savage Sunday, 2-5, 1,500 cap, 6 to 10 p.m. Monday, 1-2, 500 cap, 1-3, 1K cap.
Okay, Monday, 1-3 game, right?
Yeah.
Or 1-2 game?
3, Tuesday is a day off. We need a day off.
Right.
Because usually our weekends are really, really crazy. So we
Super
try.
busy.
Wednesday, we've been doing the final table of Katie's game. Oh, we've been doing the final table of Katie's game. Oh, here it goes. We've been doing the final table. This past week, we actually... we'll go back.
Mr. White with top 2.
Yeah.
Moneymaker with the gut shot to the nuts. Betting 300. Carlos going to fold.
He's going to have to fold, yeah.
Mr. White, what is he going to do? Is he going to put a raise in or is he just going to flat?
It's a pretty connected board.
2 diamonds.
Yeah, straight draws.
Straight draws, flush draws. I think he's going to put the flat in.
Yeah. And he's unblocking. He doesn't have diamonds in his hand. So, ace of diamonds.
That's not the greatest card for him. Brings in the flush, brings in the 2 pair of the aces, the ace jack hands, the ace king hands, ace 8 even. Mr. White. Is he going to check back or is he going to bet here? He's going to check.
9 of spades. Now, Moneymaker may think he has the best hand here. He may go into check call mode.
Yeah, I see Moneymaker checking a lot here. If I were to predict this hand, I would say Moneymaker, well, you know, this is why poker is all about...
Yeah, you're going to see a snap call.
yeah, it's a bet call.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Show the 2 pair here. Mr. White going to be taking this pot down. So, usually we've been doing that final table at Katie's game, but that final table on Wednesday, the room is packed.
Really?
So, yeah, so there's 15, 14 tables of cash table right now. We actually don't put any cash games out on the floor on Wednesday. They're all in the side rooms.
No cash games
Yeah.
on the floor.
Yeah, so we had 303, the past 3 weeks, over 300 entries on a Wednesday.
Right.
Started at 6 p.m. That final table, I helped to get it started. I didn't help with the production side of it, but I think it started about 12:15, 12:20.
Right.
Last Wednesday, like my analysis was piss poor, and I fell asleep in the booth.
Oh.
I legit
Oh
fell
my
asleep
gosh.
in the booth, and I was just like, Eric was like, let's be quiet, Ed's asleep. And I was like, no, I'm just resting my eyes. Like, I literally fell asleep in the booth. So this week we recorded it, commentated on it yesterday. Thursday's been PLO. Friday's usually the 5, 10, 25. Again, JWin coming in town.
Right.
I've been wanting to put a 25-50 with a 50 big blind ante on, so that's what we're doing tonight.
Okay.
And then our 5, 5, 10 Saturday. So
Perfect.
thinking about moving some stuff around, see some days, you know, maximize, you know, player schedules. And the good thing is, you know, because we're keeping that 6 to 10 time slot, it still works well for like a lot of players.
Right.
And sometimes a lot of people don't want to play on Fridays or Saturdays because like a lot of people go out on Friday, Saturday. So
Yeah,
with
yeah,
family,
so-
spend the weekend with them. So
So it might be better to move some of the streams over during the week. And
yeah, maybe even do a Monday or two. Think about moving something to Monday, maybe moving stuff around, maybe moving PLO to Friday because PLO has its own subset of viewers.
Right, it's its own thing.
So we're not competing with other streams for those viewers. Like I said, just don't know. We're definitely going to need to talk about it. I can't go to sleep, Danny. I need you to bust. No, I'm just kidding. I need you to spin it up. How you doing over there?
Mr. White and hijack folding king 9. JD ace jack off, so he's going to raise it up. 150.
And you know, when I was playing 1-2, I used to think ace jack offsuit was like the greatest hand.
Right.
That hand is so bad. It's so bad.
That ace 10 and ace 10's a sucker hand too.
Yep. Especially a 1-2.
Gets
Like
you in a lot of trouble.
now, if like I'm gonna play, like if I see that hand under the gun, and I have like super sticky people, I just fold it now.
Right.
I just fold it now.
Well, I tell you what, you're ahead of the curve, man.
Yeah.
You've been playing that long.
Yeah, but even like, you know, if I get a late, every once in a while I'll use it as squeeze because you really don't want to be calling with it, right?
Right.
Especially out of position, like all 3 bets. If I'm deep enough, right?
Paul heads up for rolls. I tell you what.
You know Snake Eyes? You
No,
know
I
that?
don't. How big is your roll? And we'll see if we can play heads up for it.
Let's go. We'll stream it. Interesting run out here. JD with the best hand. Zefish leads out here on the river. Nice little bet there. You're going to get JD actually off the best hand here.
$12? You got it, kid. I'll see if they'll stream it for 12 bucks. I mean, that's an extra $12. I could buy a couple tacos with that, so I'll play for it. Mr. White, 2 7s, raising it to 150, under gun +2. JD 6-4 diamonds. Moneymaker gonna fold. Carlos, 10-3 of diamonds. He's gonna protect the big blind. He also has to put the ante out there as well. 9, king, 8, rainbow. Carlos going to check. Mr. White probably going to see bet here. He does 125. And call 4 clubs. Carlos checking, 10-3 of diamonds. Mr. White with the best of it. Checks back. 6 of clubs on the river. Habib, when Eddie's back in here, I'll let him answer the question. Is that the Habib?
Yes.
That's him?
Yeah, that's Habib.
My man.
He's playing tomorrow. Habib, you're playing tomorrow, right? It's the first time I've ever seen it. Well, because Habib's usually playing.
Right.
So Habib's usually playing, so.
Habib, I hope you're doing well. Hey, what's the name of your restaurant? I want to come out there and eat.
It caught on fire. So he shut down for like 2 months.
Oh, my God.
How much longer are you out of commission, Habib? It's Zelda. Yes, Habib. I'll give you, yeah, you can pick up hoodies tomorrow, of course. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Habib, open back up, hurry.
What kind of food is it?
Mediterranean.
Mediterranean?
Yeah.
Me and my wife love Mediterranean.
God, it's so good.
I definitely want to come check it out when it's back open.
I've been there 4 times now, and he's catered twice for us.
Really?
Yeah.
Cashman under the gun, Jack 10 offsuit, gonna fold. Mr. White.
I used to think Jack 10 was a pretty decent hand, but it's not.
You mean it's not?
It's not. It's not.
Ace Queen for Paolo, raise 175.
The outside is what it is, but the inside.
JWin.
Probably going to defend the big blind here. Maybe not.
Well, he already has the 50
Yeah.
in the middle dead from the ante.
Yeah, and so, like, here's the thing. Like, you're not a tournament guy yourself, right?
You know, I prefer cash games, but I might start playing little tournaments again.
You dabble, so,
Yeah.
you know, you're going to be defending. Oh, well, so backtrack. Early on in tournaments, when you have 100, 200 big blinds deep,
Right.
you can defend your big blind a lot wider. Now, as the blinds go up and the stack depth decreases, it gets more compressed. You're not going to be defending your big blind as wide. Nice little river here for JWin, river and trips.
3 sevens.
Yeah. This flop and turn go check check.
700. I don't see Paolo calling here.
Over bet pot.
Actually, I do know Snake Eyes. His name is Applesauce online. We played heads up once. He beat a lot of money out of me that day.
You. Snake Eyes, where you from?
I don't want to play that man heads up for rolls. He might make Gator boots again.
Now here's the thing. That sizing's so polar that Paolo may not believe him here. He may think his ace queen is actually good in this spot. There's a
lot of missed hands.
It's a lot of missed draws, some weird straight draws.
Yep, and he's going to hero it.
Nice little bet there and takedown from JWin after rivering trip sevens. Again, a lot of the draws, and he did have the ace of spades, so some straight draws miss, front door clubs miss, back door spades miss. Overbet pot there, got some value, some decent value, and that's the thing. Like once you start moving them the stakes, like knowing those types of spots, kind of like being able to take those types of lines when you make hands like that.
And a lot more interesting calls on the river.
Yeah, and so I player dependent, and that's what I'm saying. Like for the record, I would definitely get crushed by a lot of these players online, but like I would actually probably feel more comfortable bluffing these players and bluffing somebody at 1-2.
You're not wrong.
Right.
It's more comfortable to bluff some people like this. Not to say that they're easy.
Yeah.
It's just
they're thinking players.
They're thinking. Right.
You can get them to fold some hands. There was a hand, I think when Jacob was in town, Brick,
Yeah.
Where Cashman had aces.
Yeah.
And Jacob out of position, like check raise flop. With
Right.
like total air
And moves him off aces.
Yeah, blows him off aces. So, you know, that in itself is a super strong line. And when you're check raising to the pre-flop aggressor on a weird, it was a pretty dry board.
Yeah, I remember that hand. And I don't remember. And I think J-Rock might have had top pair of that hand.
Maybe, yeah. I know it was 3 ways. I saw
Right.
but I specifically remember Jacob having nothing, and Cashman having aces. Jade here with the best hand with just 4s. 9 of spades on the river. Brings in like Jack 10.
Cashman hitting the 9.
River some showdown value. And sometimes, like I said, like these weird, like with him having a jack, he's blocking straights, right?
Right.
So like he could maybe take down the, you know, so like not maybe multi-way, maybe heads up type thing, right? You know, you don't. I try not to bluff into multi-way pots, right? Again, I was talking about when I was in my early playing career. If I raised pre-flop 6 ways and like I would c-bet out of position 100% of the time on boards that like you should never be c-betting.
Right.
It's like boards that are just way better for everybody else. So, and I think like even with really good hands and not so good hands, like on certain flops, I'll check back or sometimes I bet because you got to mix it up.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Quote unquote, stay balanced.
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
Follow with a real hand here. Ace King offsuit. Looks like he's under the gun. I'm sure he's going to come in for about 150 here. 175.
Yeah, we've been seeing standard open on a non-straddle pot anywhere from buck 25 to buck 75. So I've seen him open for this size buck 75. So
Cashman, queen jack of diamonds in the small blind. I wouldn't be surprised Cashman may 3-bet here, but at least a call. And there's the 700.
pseudo Broadway cards are good candidates to 3-bet squeeze with.
Paolo, you know, I think this guy's a little bit of aggressive, and he's at least calling, but I would lean towards he could 4-bet a lot, but he puts in the call.
He is in position, so be able to see a flop and evaluate.
That's a good flop for Cashman.
I would expect for him to c-bet here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, top pair, backdoor diamonds.
That's 1/3 pot. I wouldn't be surprised if Paolo raises in this spot. This is not a great board for Cashman's 3-betting range.
And
Just
he
gonna
does
make a call.
float.
Yeah. Just gonna float here. Ace of clubs.
Wow.
Turns top pair. King kicker.
Just drills the ace.
Yeah.
Check. I would assume Paolo's going to bet here.
Interested to see what sizing is going to go with on this card if he elects to bet.
I think if he does elect to bet, we're going to go
1,000, 1,500?
1,000, 1,500. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
good.
what I was thinking as well.
About 40% of the pot.
Oh, he went 750.
Really small bet.
Yeah.
750 to 2,500. Cashman here in a tough spot.
Is that his actual last name?
It is his last name.
Wow. So, you know, there's an actual Chris Moneymaker, and there's a and what's his first name?
Ooh, Cashman?
Yeah.
Chris.
Chris Cashman. Chris
Yeah.
Cashman and a Chris Moneymaker, both in the poker world.
So, yeah, and his
Really interesting.
German Moneymaker, his real last name is like it's German.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Wow.
Check raise to 2K.
That is
2,500.
quite the move here.
He's represent. I feel like he's representing like a set.
Yeah, set of jacks here.
I know with him having a jack.
He's putting Paolo in the blender. Well, with the 750 bet from Paolo, I'm not surprised that the check raise came.
Okay.
And Paolo does make the call. This pot is swelling up there.
6 of clubs.
500 in the skillet.
7,500. SPR of about 70.6, 0.65.
Cashman has right under, a little bit under pot size bet.
I wonder if he's gonna rip it.
And it looks like he shoves 58 and a quarter, putting Paolo in a spot that he's just not gonna like with one pair.
What's Paolo gonna do here?
I mean, if he calls the turn, he has to think that that third barrel's coming off. Is he just going to give up? 6 of clubs, meaningless river. If he was already beat, he was beat on the turn. He doesn't know that he's way ahead.
This is a high-level move by Cashman. You don't see these types of bluffs at 1-2.
No, this is you know, when you're playing for this kind of money, this is when you can really apply pressure to the bonus. And it looks like he's going to call. Wow, he does make the call with top.
What a big hand here.
Almost 20,000 in the skillet, $19,150.
And Paolo here, up about 9K.
Making the hero call.
Yeah.
Impressive call on the river. And like I said, if he was going to call the turn, how does he not call the river?
Right. He didn't like it. And I'll be honest with you, players at 1-2 snap call there.
Yes.
A lot of times. But the fact that he thought about it, reconstructed pre-flop action, flop, turn, and river action, like, you know, for you players and viewers don't just snap call, don't just snap bet, don't just snap fold, right? Like, think about the hands, because like there are times like a year ago where I would have snap called, snap bet, snap folded,
right?
But now, like, I'll reconstruct the line. Like, honestly, if something doesn't make sense to me, like, and I think I have the best hand, I'm gonna call. Whereas before I was like, okay, I'm just gonna fold, or I just snap fold.
Right.
So, Tiny, you haven't missed too much. Well, you just missed that. Oh, I guess you saw that hand. Chris Cashman check raise flop. Did he check raise flop or check raise turn? He check raised turn.
He check raised the turn.
He 3-bet out of position.
Led the flop.
He led the flop. Check raise turn and bombed the river for the rest of the stack for like 6K, like 5,800, 5,600. The pot about 7,500.
Yeah.
Nice hand there by Paolo. Chris Cashman going to top off to another 10K.
Tough spot for him to be in.
Yeah, super tough spot.
JWin in the cutoff 6-2 soft. Cashman folding. It looks like he rebought about $10,000. Mr. White, King Jack offsuit in the small blind. I'm gonna bump it up here to 200. Paolo 8 deuce off. I don't blame him for folding. And we're gonna pick up the small pot. On to the next hand.
I got it.
50 viewers in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. I am Paul Tassone, a.k.a. Gator. I'll be playing tomorrow as well. Got Eddie, the Asian Sensation, in the booth with me today. I'm so happy to be here as guest commentator. Been a great time being here at Poker House. If you're in the area, come down here and play. They spread it all from 1-2 to 5-10, 10-1/4, 25-50. Paolo 7-6 offsuit in a small blind. 200, he's going to make it. JD 10-7 of diamonds in the big blind, most likely going to defend, and he does. 200 called, 450 in the skillet. King, King, 9. Paolo with the worst of it. He's going to see bet here. 125. JD might actually float here. He's probably thinking a little bit, might be getting C-bet by a couple hands that didn't hit connect with this board. And he might think about stealing it on a turn. He's going to give up.
I use the competitor product though, the Poker Analytics 6. Did some marketing work with it for a little bit. What is it supposed to do? Oh, it's just like push track your wins from all of it. It's like very convenient.
Yeah, it's just an accounting software. Costs like $20. I'm not gonna let you forget, but I'm not gonna let you forget. Don't you worry. It's nice that somebody thinks
Zefish,
of
2 7s under the gun. Probably going to come in for a raise, 150. Carlos, ace-10 offsuit. I think he's probably going to call, and he does. JWin, Jack-4 clubs. They're not playing the Jack-4 game today like they were yesterday. Mr. White, ace-7. Going to fold it. Paolo with King-8 of hearts. Giving that up. JD, 3-4 small blind. Moneymaker, big blind folds. Heads up, 425 in the middle. Zefish, 2 7s. 3 King 4, 2 hearts. Zefish with the best of it still. Going to C-bet. 125. Carlos, ace high. Not much he's going to be able to do here, but he might make a call and evaluate the turn. He does. 125 called. 675 in the middle. 10 of hearts. That picks up the best hand for Carlos. Brings in the flush draw. Will Zefish continue repping his hand? He does. It's at 4.25. I don't see Carlos picking up a 10 and folding. Unless he thinks Zefish has a king or he's betting hearts. Carlos in the blender a little bit and gives up. I'm a little bit shocked that he floated with ace-10 and hit a decent card for his hand and then gave up to a little more resistance. Carlos deuce 3 under the gun. He's going to fold it. JWin, I'm sure he's going to fold. Cashman, King 8. What he's really picking up a hand. Paolo 6-4, JD. Moneymaker, Queen 8 of clubs. He's going to bump it up to 150. Zefish, I don't see him going anywhere. Not for an extra $1. Queen 10 King Jack. Moneymaker at the open ender. Zefish miss it completely. Yeah, good C-bet by Moneymaker.
Kills every time, doesn't it?
All right, let's see what happens. JWin under the gun, ace-5 offsuit. I can see he's probably going to fold. Cashman folding, Mr. White. JD, Jack 8 off in the cutoff. Moneymaker with 2 aces on the button. JD trying to get a little crafty with the Jack 8. Standard open, but ran right into aces. I don't think he's going to call Moneymaker, though. I think this hand ends here.
There's too much respect at this table. I don't think that's the
Not
problem.
2 hands ago.
I don't think that's the problem.
Zefish said there's too much respect this table. This is a tough lineup. You have a lot of tough players in here from the DFW area. Cashman, 2 jacks, couple of Johnnies. He's gonna bump it up to 125. See if somebody else picks up a hand, play a big pot. Carlos with 10-9 suited. He's gonna make the call. JWin, Jack 5 suited, gonna make the call. All right, we got a pot brewing. 3 ways to flop. 10-3-7 Rainbow. It's a good flop for Cashman. Might be a little bit of trouble for Carlos here in the small blind. 10-9 of spades. Top pair, backdoor spade draw. Bet 225. JWin, I'm sure, is going to get out the way. Cashman, I see Cashman put in a raise here a lot of the time. I would say probably 70-80% of the time, Cashman's probably going to raise. And he's just going to make the call. 3 of hearts. It's like Carlos has got to like that card for his hand. Still with top pair. He's going to bet again. 350. Cashman. Now, if I'm Cashman, I got 2 jacks here. I really like this turn. He's going to call the 350 once again. Let's see what happens on the river. 9 of clubs. This is a disaster for Carlos. He has top 2. Cashman's got 2 jacks. Carlos probably thinking he's got the best hand, thinking Cashman might have a 10 ace, king 10, queen 10, jack 10 even. So Carlos is going to bet. Absolute disaster for his hand.
It gets counterfeited here on the, well, river's 2 pair.
Yeah. Makes him like his hand more.
Yeah. I like the bet, though, by Carlos. Could have check called there also.
Carlos let out the flop, the turn, and the river in that hand.
Okay.
And got called all 3.
It's probably the worst card from on the river, too, because you got to think, you know, 10s and 9s is, you know.
That's what I was saying. It was an absolute disaster for Carlos to hit that 9. If the 3 didn't come on the turn, it'd been great for Carlos.
Right. So getting Cashman back up now. I mean, he reloaded, trying to chip away at that 10K loss he had against Paolo when he tried to check raise turn and barrel river.
Right. Which I think in that hand, he probably thought that Paolo didn't have an ace. He might have thought he had a jack hand as well.
Yeah, is Zefish here with queens in the cutoff?
2 queens.
Carlos going to set mine with 8s. We've seen an 8 on the flop a bunch.
We have. The 8's been hot.
Oh.
Cashman with the ace king.
And coming for the 3 bet.
I think he's coming for the 3 bet for sure. He's
600?
thinking he wants to make it.
550 to 650?
Yeah, it's going to be 800.
It's a big, big 3 bet.
We are sizing up today. The kitty game is down the street.
Yep.
And Zefish with the 2
Oh,
queens.
saying I'll give you action. What do you do if you're Carlos here? You can't think 8s are good in this spot.
I mean, you know, with stack sizes this big
And their players are pretty deep.
and position, I think I'm flatting and going to try to flop an 8.
Yeah, it's going to look to set by with 8s. Gonna be 3 ways to pot, 2,500 in it. Let's see a flop.
Yeah, we have a pot brewing now.
Whoa, look at this.
Wow. And massive flop for Zefish. Flopping everybody dead, basically. I mean, the only way that Cashman or Carlos could win this is runner. Cashman had to get ace-ace or king-king.
Yep.
And Carlos had to go 8-8. What a spot to be in, but too bad Cashman doesn't have any piece of the board really to continue. 1,100. Carlos with the 2-8s. You know, if I'm Carlos, I'm just going to give up in this hand.
Good fold.
And I assume Cashman gives up here.
You surprised by the bet by Zefisher with his board locked up?
Yeah, you know, he has the board completely locked up and still bets at it, which
Yeah, could have checked.
could have easily checked.
Could have checked there because he's probably not going to get more than 2 streets of value there.
Yeah, and Cashman was the original 3-better in the hand, so he could have definitely checked there and hoped that somebody takes a stab.
Zefisher up about 6. Some of these newcomers. Let's take a look at these.
Well, Cashman was first to act that hand.
Yeah. The 2 new players. Actually, the 3 new players. Paolo, Zefish, Mr. White up. Carlos still up about 950 himself. Had a really good start to the stream. Cashman down about 9,300. Moneymaker down about 2,200. JD down about 3K. JWin as well down about 3K. So still lots of poker.
JD, Jack 8 of diamonds. I'm sure he's going to bump it up.
200.
200. Moneymaker. He's not going anywhere. 2-5s. Speed limit hand, but not in Texas. That's not the speed limit around here. Cashman 6-9.
Mr. White in the big blind 7-3 offsuit. Yep, not defending.
He's giving up on that.
Not going to defend it. Not after early position open and a call from Moneymaker. $8-4-6 board.
So that looks like JD got a piece of it with top pair. Moneymaker, not a bad flop for his hand.
Double blocking straights.
And he's going to take a stab at it. 250. I think JD's definitely going to put a call in at least.
What if he's going to do something crazy like check raise here?
That's very possible.
Flopping top pair, backdoor diamonds. Just going to make the call.
Evaluate the turn. What the 7 of diamonds? That'd be an interesting card.
2 of clubs.
Deuce of clubs. Check. What do you think Moneymaker does here? Moneymaker picked up outs, actually. He's now at a 3 or a 7 to make a straight. I'm sure he's played with JD a fair amount.
Yeah. Maybe thinking that JD floated a hand like ace-king, ace-queen.
Moneymaker probably thinking he has the best of it here a lot of the time.
I don't see JD folding here at this point.
No, I've played with both of these players, and I think JD's going to probably make the call.
Yeah, 7 of diamonds would have been very interesting.
7 of diamonds would have been a good one. All right, he does make the call. 21 1/4 in the skillet.
6 of clubs.
Okay.
Pairing the board. I wonder if it's going to go check.
I could see that, unless Moneymaker just barrels big here, like 2,000. And he checks.
Yeah, most times you're not going to float with 2. You're not going to float 2 streets with 2 overs.
No.
As a pre-flop aggressor. So maybe putting them in a hand like 9s, maybe 10s.
Right.
Probably not going to. That's not going to fold to a river bet. Again, Moneymaker with enough showdown value on that run out, you know, where he beats a lot of ace highs. You surprised JD didn't c-bet there, even though he flopping top pair there. Again, that's not obviously it's not a good flop for his early position opening range.
Right.
You know, obviously if there's a face card like an ace, king, or queen, even though with him having just jack equity diamonds, it's definitely a better board for him to see bet. But
Yes.
and that's the thing. When you start getting to this level, even 5-5-10, you have to think about, you know, are these boards good enough for my, you know, continuing c-betting range?
Absolutely.
Or is it better for my opponent's range, right?
Cashman free betting the 10-9 of diamonds to 500.
Like the 3-bet here.
Me too.
JWin just going to snap fold there.
And yeah, like I would tell some people, when you start playing the $10, $25 big blinds, that's when you really start playing some poker.
Yep, agreed.
The stacks are deep. The money is meaningful. Not that it's not meaningful in 1-2 and 2-5, because you can still win a lot of money in those games.
Agreed.
But some people playing 1-2 and 2-5, they don't care about $1,000.
Right.
People care about $10,000 and $20,000. I don't care who you are.
Agreed, 100%.
JWin, 5-4 hearts.
Suited connectors here. I like that. Like the open.
Raise it to 150.
See if Mr. White's going to come back for a 3-bet here with king queen offsuit.
I think he is. He's reaching for raising
400,
chips.
500.
500.
Yep, like the size, about just a little over 3x.
Right. I don't see JWin folding. 500. He's getting a bargain.
And he knows if he hits this board, he's probably gonna get paid.
Yeah.
Not a very good board for his flop. Much better
Not
for
at all.
Mr. White.
Absolutely.
And he's got a lot of the ace X hands.
I would assume that Mr. White's probably going to put a C bet in here, 500 to 700. A little bit bigger, 1,000.
Stat fold by JWin. I'm gonna give you guys some points. Thanks for tuning in. We give you guys 2,500 points. Again, give it a little bit of time. Hit your count. Again, Eddie the Asian Sensation in the booth, along with Paul Gator Tassone. Back-to-back days for him in the booth. Did a great job yesterday. Had him back today.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
And our inaugural 25-50-50 big blind ante game. Biggest game here at Poker House Dallas. Poker House Live. Nice little lineup with JD in the 1 seat, German Moneymaker in the 2 seat, Zefish in the 4 seat, Carlos in the 5 seat, JWin in the 6 seat, Cashman in the 7 seat, Mr. White in the 8 seat, Zane, and Paolo in the 9 seat.
Carlos, ace-4 of clubs. He's going to bump it up to $1.50. And a 3-bet from JWin to 500.
Like the 3-bet, he hasn't been playing too many hands. So
JD folded pocket deuces.
Snap call by Carlos here with suited
set
wheel
mine
cards.
there.
Yeah.
Eight, 5, 3, 2 clubs. Carlos, big flop for him. He's got the
steel
gut
wheel
shot.
draw. The steel wheel draw.
Right. The
JD
steel
fold.
wheel gutter.
Yeah, the JD fold.
And turns the nuts. And JWin and JD folded 2 deuces.
Did he fold the 2 of clubs? I didn't see.
I don't remember. I think it might have been red deuces, but I don't remember. JWin with top pair. Carlos checking the nuts.
That's a bad river card for Carlos because it's going to be tough for him to get paid. He's going to have to try to bet here to try to get a little bit of value.
Unless he checks and hope that JWin bluffs at it. But that, he does check and it doesn't happen. Setting the trap and it didn't get trapped.
Again, tomorrow, 5/5/10, 6 to 10 p.m. Gonna have that thumbnail out pretty soon. What do you think about the new thumbnails? Have you seen them?
No.
Okay, so
let me see.
Yeah, we've been toying with a bunch and trying to figure out. Let me show you. Been working with Frankie and somebody else. So these are
yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, these are the new thumbnails.
Okay, yeah, this looks very good.
So like, Frankie kind of put together the templates. And just, I was like, yeah, we really like this. So I think this is going to be the quote-unquote permanent template, you know, with the chips in the background.
I like that a lot. It looks very clean.
So he's going to come in one day. He's going to sit down with him. I don't know. I just learned how to use Canva like 2 weeks ago. So I just learned how to use Adobe Photoshop.
I'm not tech savvy, so I
literally
get
about
it.
2 or 3 weeks ago, and literally just how to remove a background and crop. So in terms of additional usage, not very worth. I'm a numbers guy, so.
Jacob Lenton in the chat. There he is. When's he going to come back out here and play? Talking about him earlier.
Yeah, both players, King Jack, the same hand, going to be a chop pot.
Yeah, King Jack, nothing going on there. Deuce, 6-9 tray board.
What do you think about playing a hand like King Jack offsuit in EP?
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I think it gets you in a lot of trouble. And I hate facing a raise to it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in late position, it's definitely worth opening in late position.
Yeah. What did we say about you earlier?
You're a fish, Jacob. No, I'm just kidding. Come back to Texas. How often does he come down here? Is it
That was the only time he's been down here.
Okay.
I told him to make another
After
appearance.
after he sees Texas action.
Right. He
And how much did he end up that stream?
3,000 or 4,000 in
so-
the game one.
How does a 5-5-10 game in Texas compare to out there in the East Coast?
Huge.
Yeah.
The 5-5-10 game here is you're playing 10 1/4, so the 5-5 and 10 that's
Irrelevant.
it's irrelevant. You're playing at least 10 1/4 because you got OFC and those guys in there. The straddle's got to be on, and I'm a straddle catalyst. I want the straddle on too. When you go to the East Coast, you get raised to 5-10 game, raised to 30 or 40, and everybody folds and one
Right.
guy calls. Out here in Texas, it's 304 callers.
Right. I'm pro straddle. Like when I'm on the floor.
Me too.
Like every deal, I'm just like, hey, auto straddle. Just FYI, just auto straddle.
I like that. What I really like about down here is the involvement that you guys can have. You can get off your shift, you can go play.
Yep.
And it's not like this big stickler for the rules thing all the time. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you can't say that, or you can't say this about straddling or whatever.
Yeah.
So much more poker friendly here in this state
Yeah.
compared to some of the other places I've seen.
And there's some upside and downside, right?
Yeah, I
to that.
agree.
With not having like a gaming commission or regulation,
Right.
a lot of these rooms set their own rules per
Yeah.
se.
It's the Wild West.
Right. But it's also like I think that's what makes Texas poker so popular, because you can go from TCH to here and like the straddles are different.
Yeah,
the
the game's
binds
big
are different.
changes, yeah.
So if you're like, a player that usually plays 2-5 and you really don't want to match the stack like a TCH,
Right.
you would come here. But if you're a player that likes to play 2-5 and you like to get as much, you can go down the street. So it gives a lot of players a lot of different variety.
Yeah.
I do think Dallas is one of the better areas in the state for poker. All cities in Texas are really good for poker.
Yeah, I personally like Dallas the best.
Yeah.
I played in Austin, and Austin's a nice area.
It's a really. We talked about it yesterday. Stupid expensive.
Yeah, it's so expensive. And I enjoyed all my experiences in Texas in general, just playing poker. The hospitality in Texas has been really good.
Yeah.
I love poker down here, and I just want to see it grow.
Ronnie, I'm sorry. I'm commenting. It's Eric. It's not Eric. I'm sorry. It's me, Eddie the Asian Sensation, and back-to-back guest speaker Paul Gator Tassone, who will be playing tomorrow. So I guarantee tomorrow's VPIPs are going to be above. Everybody's going to be above 25%.
Going to be an interesting one tomorrow. Paolo with ace-jack opened it up, getting 3-bet by JD with king-queen offsuit.
Just going to call here.
That's a call.
Out of position to JD.
7-3-9.
Yeah, it doesn't change much. Both players with a spade.
Right. JD with the C bet 350.
That's got to be the all-time best
Paolo's going to fold.
shove, right? Going in 7-2 offsuit, winning 2 boards against Ace Queen for all in both.
Jackson,
Don't let her see that.
I'm gonna screen capture this, so when you come and she comes and visit, like if she comes and visits the room, I'm gonna say on March 17th.
Put it on the big screen.
Yeah. I'll make a screenshot of it, Jake, and then like make it. You know how I like do those player profiles? I'm gonna do that.
Favorite quote.
Gotta bring the old ball and chain. At least you didn't call her a hag, though. That would have been really bad. You guys aren't old enough.
I know that word.
So obviously you know him from West Virginia. Did you? I'm assuming you met him through poker.
Jake, yeah, I met him
Okay.
through poker, yeah. He's from Maryland. So he wasn't from too far away from me. I met him through some people that I knew that played poker as well. Moneymaker raising at 150. Carlos calling ace king clubs. And you talked about that yesterday, how Carlos likes to call with ace queen. Ace
In
king.
position, he likes to call.
Right.
Likes to see the flops.
He's not real raise heavy with those hands. And he gets a good flop. And
In early
Moneymaker's a
position,
nut flush draw.
in early position he is.
In early position.
Yeah.
But in position, he likes to call.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like JWin here with a gutter to a straight.
Moneymaker with the nut flush draw, who was the original raiser, bet 300. Carlos, top.
Ace of
Man, what a good card here.
combo draw now. Now obviously, Carlos turning 2-pair. I'd like to see him size up. It's a very draw-heavy board. He doesn't have any diamonds.
Yeah, I'd love like around
800?
Yeah, 8, 9.
Looks like he's going to be small. Is that red chip? Purple chip?
7.5.
Okay, I like sizing. It's
Close to 8.
yeah.
Moneymaker, I don't think is going anywhere. He's got top pair. He's got the nut flush draw. Yeah. See what happens.
If it's a brick card, I see Carlos betting here. Dude,
Moneymaker with the nuts. Now, Moneymaker, do you think he checks here and hope that Carlos fires and puts in the check raise, or does Moneymaker bet for value?
It's a tough. It's a good question, and I think that's what he's thinking about right now. Front door flush gets there, and if he's putting him specifically on ace king,
And he does bet.
I wonder if he's putting him on like a set or hand like ace king. And Carlos, man, we talked about it, was doing really, really well.
Yep.
And he's been playing super solid tonight.
Yeah, and he's getting put right into the blender on this one, getting put to the test. With top 2, Carlos has to think the only thing that's got him crushed here is what Moneymaker has. And
Yeah.
he's going to make the call, I think. I don't see Carlos getting away from it.
Yeah, and I don't blame him for making the call here. It seems pretty strong to fold in this spot.
Oh, man.
He's not grabbing raising chips, is he?
Oh, man. Maybe just counting out what he has left
Yeah.
if he makes the call. It's definitely leaning towards the call. Can he sniff it out and make a great fold here?
I don't know if I'm folding.
This is the
Top two- top
spot
two.
to be in.
And here's the thing: if Moneymaker has sets like jacks,
And he's just turn that up.
Just turn that table mic up. Carlos' instincts are correct here, but top 2 pair, gosh, he. And again, if Moneymaker, like, what's he calling with, right?
Oh, wow, and he gives it up.
What a great fold by
What a
Carlos!
fold.
What a super high.
He said, I think I let you get there, and he makes a great fold.
What a freaking great fold by Carlos.
Wow. I tell you, Carlos is playing really well today.
Like I said, when he was Eric's running action tracker, Ronnie, he's out there on the floor punching all the numbers and the action.
Paolo 6-4
What a
offsuit.
fold.
I know, man. Incredible fold. Congrats to Carlos for getting away from such a big hand. JD, pocket fives, raising 150. Moneymaker, ace king, putting in the 3-bet. It looks like 450. Carlos folding. JWin, Cashman, Mr. White. Probably going to go heads up here. I don't see JD wanting to fold this hand. I got 2 5s. Let's play a pot. There it is.
It was a tough laydown. It was a correct laydown.
9-9 king. Moneymaker with the best of it here. And the backdoor flush draw. JD checking it over to the razor, playing in flow.
$350? $250, really small
Two and a
bet.
half. 275.
Quarter size. It's so funny at the higher stakes. Would you agree that you don't see the quarter bet, the quarter 1/3 as often as you see it like in 1-2?
What do you mean? Like, so in the 1-2 people bet, you feel that they bet more big size or small size?
Bigger.
Oh, in one, yeah, absolutely, I agree.
As it relates to the pot percentage-wise, I mean.
Yeah, it seems that when they're playing 1-2 or sometimes the 2-5 games, they look at the pot and they're just like pot.
Yeah.
And it's always pot, or it's the opposite.
Pretty big sizes up here, my Moneymaker.
1,200.
And JD's just not going to call after Moneymaker's in a double barrel here. Just pocket fives. He does have 2 pair himself.
Yeah, this would be a pretty tough call here, and then the river, you know, he's probably going to face another bet. So obviously JD with the worst hand, but he is in the tank.
Oh, and just gonna make the call.
And this is why poker's so interesting. It's a game of incomplete information.
Right, 100%. 10 of clubs.
So we can't always guess right.
Right.
I would have assumed he was going to fold as well.
I wonder if Moneymaker's going to check back here. Like, what's going to call you with worse?
Right.
You would think that if JD had a 9, he maybe would check raise turn to try and start building the pot.
Yeah, or if he had, you know, a full house with, I don't know what full house he would have,
Yeah.
besides like King 9 or something, right? But yeah, I would assume JD would probably check raise a turn by now.
75% pot.
Okay. And he's going to give it up now.
Moneymaker, like you said, kind of just biding his time, inching his way up.
Got 12 minutes, Julius.
Busy room tonight. Got 14 cash games going on right now
Nice.
on a Friday.
What all's running?
So obviously this one, we got 7 1-2 tables with 20 on the wait list.
Woohoo.
2-5. We got 12 players on the wait list. We got a 2-5 with a one-handed PLO.
Okay. Is that one hand on the button, or how's that?
Yeah, reverse button PLO.
Okay.
That's a very popular. So in Texas, depending on where you're at, that game's very popular. Like especially at the 2-5, even at the 1-3 or 1-2 in different cities, like a reverse button PLO type thing. And then on the dealer change, do a bomb pot, or like a round of each where you're playing a round of hold'em, round of PLO. So
Right.
very popular. Texas.
Moneymaker, 2 9s, raising it to 150, under gun plus
Wow.
1. Zefish going to make the call. Mr. White, 3-bet to 800.
Big 3-bet here. Moneymaker
Seen
just
some
can't
big
fold.
3-bets. No, not with the 2 9s.
Oh, Zefish once
says,
again.
let's gamble.
Let's gamble. 3 ways.
I got ace deuce hearts.
He's like, I got outs.
Yeah, let's dance. Flopping a 2.
Mr. White flopping the best of it.
Moneymaker still to 2 9, second best of Mr. White with King 10. Mr. White leading out 800. see what Moneymaker wants to do here.
I think he's at least peeling one, especially with only one overcard
Yeah.
for his pocket pair.
That's what it looks like. Zefish. Does he want to peel one, try to pick up a deuce or an ace on the turn?
I wonder if he wants to get spicy and try
He
to like
might.
check raise here, or sorry, yeah, raise in this spot. He didn't check raise. He's in position of both players.
He is thinking about something, and he did get spicy. Whoa!
Pew pew pew!
Bang! 2,400. Call that.
He has a lot. He has a lot of the sets.
He does.
He can have deuces here. He can have eights here. He's not going to really have any like. There's not really any good two-pair combos here, right?
Mr. White, no, and Mr. White's got to be like, wow.
And when you're raising with after a three, you know, he see bets flop, and then you get a call from Moneymaker who hasn't been playing a ton of hands. You
Right.
get raised. Like that's super strong.
Really strong.
Super strong.
He is putting in quite the line here with 2 players behind, and Moneymaker, I'm sure, is going to give it up. He gets it right
You
through.
gotta show it,
Does he show it? Does he show it?
You're
No.
a sicko. Zefish, you're a
Should have
sicko.
showed the ace.
Future invite to all streams.
Let's go, Zefish.
Action. Gosh, with the worst hand, and he gets it through. What a sicko.
I gotta buy myself a I'm overused.
And like that's what I'm saying. Like against really good players like that, like you have to respect a move like that.
Absolutely.
In 1-2, both players are calling.
Yeah.
Both players are calling.
They're calling.
Like you're never gonna make that move at 1-2 ever.
No, and he takes a great line there to go ahead and take it down. Great bluff and 3-bet.
And definitely, it's such a dry board. I mean, yeah, you got some weird cards that improve potential equity on the turn.
Yeah.
10-8 deuce Badoogie board. So for you to raise on a dry board, like you're really only repping, you know, sets. Pocket
Right.
deuces, pocket eights, maybe not even tens. Obviously, White had a 10 in his hand, so it's going to reduce some. I mean, there's really only one combo. Pocket tens. So left after, you know, with King 10 and him flopping top pair there. So Habib says he calls. Habib's never folding top pair there. Yeah, Ronnie with the 1-2 peel. It's so funny. So we did some dealer training for PLO because, you know, when we started live streaming, we only had a bucket of dealers that wanted, you know, to deal.
Right.
And to be fair, a lot of these, I told you this yesterday, the stream wasn't very good 6 months ago. So we were legit like a bunch of 1-2, some final tables of some tournaments that didn't have more than 50-60, so we could get to this point where we're at right now.
Right.
So it's kind of you gotta. It's like with anything, like on 1-2, but you can't move up from 1-2 to like 25-50 until you go from 1-2 to 2-5. You know, same concept.
Naturally, yes.
Right. So you know, from an analogy perspective, that's what you know some of these dealers did, and what we did with the live stream. Did somebody just get here? I saw a backpack.
I think somebody sat down, yeah.
Oh no, okay. I saw a backpack somewhere.
Yeah, I did too.
So I
Maybe it was
thought
Moneymaker taking his seat again.